Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today with some more Arma 3. We're going to be taking a look at the Marksman DLC as it stands in the development branch. It's just released, it's RC, it's release client state, meaning that the developers have been locked out from doing any big changes to the code that would create more bugs or a ripple effect that would pretty much make the DLC unreleasable in just over a week on April 8th when it's set to release. So they're kind of locking things down, refining, cleaning up a lot of issues, and just making sure it's good to go for April 8th so we can all get our hands on the big changes. However, I've been checking it out for over 2 weeks now in the developmental branch, and now that we finally have the RC release, we have the introduction of the 2 showcases that are going to be launching alongside of the Marksman DLC. So we're going to do sort of a complete overview today. We're going to start off by playing through the Marksman showcase, so at least getting as far as we can. If we die, we'll probably just back out of it, but I feel like I can complete this one. I've learned its ways, we feel like we can master it, and then we'll back out and we'll take a look at all of the new equipment and the new features that are introduced in the Marksman DLC. Quite a lot of big changes here, a lot of exciting ones, a lot of small ones. Just as a whole, I think this is the most comprehensive and exciting DLC that we're receiving from Bohemia just because of all the small changes. Don't get me wrong, I loved what they did with helicopters, I love the new flight system, it just feels so much more intense and controllable, I'm a big fan of it, but I'm really happy to see a lot of these long-wanted additions coming with the Marksman DLC. Of course, bipods, weapon resting, something that we've all wanted. A lot of changes to the way the weapons handle. It's something that I've immediately noticed. Everything just feels more refined. It doesn't feel all over the place. Fatigue seems to have been tuned to a much more appropriate level, at least when it comes to weapon sway. You still can fatigue yourself very easily. That's not something that I actually mind that much. It just allows... It forces the player to be a little bit more efficient with how they move, how quickly they move, and how long they actually spend engaging in full sprint or full walking pace. But let's talk about that a little bit later. Let's focus on the mission at hand. We're actually taking on the role of a CSAT sergeant by the name of Hosian. He is codenamed Viper Black 1, and our main objective is to push into an insurgent HQ, eliminate all targets, and retrieve some intel, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So here's my plan. If we take a look at the elevation here, you can see that this church steeple yard here is actually a great lookout point. There's a main road leading to the insurgent HQ, but what we're going to do is we're going to wrap around through here, we'll tuck in, make sure that this is clear, and then we'll come out the back door here and sort of use this elevation to get a clear line of sight on the HQ. We'll scan for targets, we'll do any range checking that we need to do, and then we'll consider our options from there, because we do need to actually make it into this HQ eventually. The intel is said to be inside of it. So let's go ahead and just set a marker on the road there, give us a rough direction point. Also, we'll be able to use that later on as a reference point for ranging targets. Now, of course, along with the new Marksman DLC, we have new weapons. Not just Marksman rifles, we also have 2 HMGs, and we also have a bunch of new pieces of kit, pieces of armor, if you will. All stuff that I'm very excited for. But what we're going to be seeing today, at least in terms of the weapons inside of this mission, is the Cyrus 9.3mm DMR and the MK14 DMR, a classic weapon returning into Arma. One of the cool things that Bohemia has done that I want to briefly mention, I'll have it in the comment section below, go ahead and open that up while you're watching this video if you want to look at it, is they've made an infographic of all the new weapons. They've talked about their inspirations for the weapons, you know, the real steel counterparts that they've sort of designed them, you know, based upon, and why they've chosen certain calibers. Just a lot of really nice detailed descriptions and all of this. I'm quite a big fan of what they've done with that. Let me just go ahead and quickly alt-tab. They're having a little bit of performance stutter. Alright, so what we have right here, let's take out our weapon, is, as I said, the Cyrus 9.3mm Marksman rifle. This is a custom caliber rifle. I'm not actually sure which one they designed this after. I don't know if this is one of the completely custom ones, but like I said, you'll see if you look at that infographic. I like how they've sort of told us a little bit of story about this. But 9.3 by 64mm, 10-round magazine. This is semi-auto and full auto capable. We are running it with a suppressor, also with one of the brand new Kalia scopes in hex, and we also have a CSAT bipod in hex. Now what they've done with the bipods is they've given each faction their own bipod that is styled differently. You know, you have sort of the CSAT looks a little bit more old school. AAF has a little bit more of the modern look, and then same thing with the NATO. They all have different appearances though, and they can all be equipped in different camo patterns, as is with the rifles. Most of the rifles introduced, actually all of the rifles, have at least 2 different camo variants. Some of them have up to 5. So just a nice addition there. Camo patterns on rifles, always cool, especially when you're running a DMR. Of course, you probably want to kit your guy out, have him look a bit, you know, camouflaged. Let me just, some serious issues here. I don't know if my video settings recently got jacked up very high. I mean, this is the way I normally play, so I guess we'll turn that down. Not sure it's going to make quite a bit of a difference, but that is the one thing I'm noticing. I'm hoping that gets cleared up, is a bit of performance stability issues. It's not very consistent. Even when I'm not recording, I'm having some inconsistencies on this showcase specifically. Everywhere else it seems to be fine, but this showcase is really bad. It's just, there's lots of drops, and they wouldn't make such a difference if I wasn't recording, but the issue is I'm recording, so I'm getting these severe drops down to 20 and 17 on my recording frames. It's not good, but like I said, it's really just an issue with recording, something Arma's always kind of dealt with. Try and alt tab one more time here. Alright, so it looks like we got a couple dead guys here. And keep in mind, like I said, this is a developmental branch. I know it's the RC client, so, I mean, technically things are going to be a little more locked down, but stuff like this is probably going to be polished out. And as I said, I strongly doubt you'll run into any of these issues if you're just playing the game. It's more of a concern with me recording with DX Tori, but let's get back to the mission at hand. Semantics, no need to discuss that. Out the back door here, we should have a clean view down on our target location. We'll do some range finding, see what's going on there. There we go. Our frames are coming back up already. That one area is just a bit of a stutter fest is all. Alright, let's get low here. Let's use this rock off to the left here as cover. Now, cool thing about the weapon resting mechanic, we're not really going to employ it here, but it is an automatic system. You do not have to do anything. Basically, being near a low wall, even being prone, anywhere where your character might rest his weapon, the hood of a car, hood of a truck, he will automatically do so and you will gain the benefit from that. Deploying a bipod is something you have to do manually. Let's go ahead and break out the rangefinder, and let's scan this main building here. Already we've got one target in the window. So we've got another target at the rear. He's on patrol. Let's just sit here and kind of watch things for a second. There's an ATV in the back, another target coming up to the front of the house. So we're looking at around 230, 240 on the house there. So we've got about a roughly about, you know, 60 to 70 meters of difference between the house and the road, depending on where our targets are going to be. This scope, the Khalil's minimum zeroing point is 300 meters. So when we go to engage this guy in the window here, I think he's going to be our first target. You can see he's rocking the MK14. He's fellow recon DMR guy over here. We're probably going to go for the crotch, roughly. That should get us a center mass shot. Another target moving to the left there, equipped with the TAR there. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just drop this guy right in the window right now. This is a powerful round, the 9.3. One shot to the chest, this guy's going to be down. I want to be careful, though, because we are kind of up on a ridge here. There's a very good chance that we could be spotted by any number of those guys moving around patrolling. Let's go ahead and deploy the bipod. Small issue with deploying the bipod is it is going to sort of lash you onto the ground. So, grass, any sort of foliage that's going to be in your way is going to be in your way even more. Go ahead, down to 300 meters. Hopefully we don't have any issues with this engagement through this grass. Like I said, we're going to aim crotch. Target down. Nicely done. Clean kill. Let's go ahead, just assess the situation. Make sure that we haven't startled any of the other targets in the area. Nope, he's still on a standard patrol there. Go ahead, deploy the bipod once again, see if we can't clean this guy up. We gotta find a new area here. This is simply not gonna work here. The grass is really sort of clouding my line of sight. If we just back off a little bit, flatten some of this grass down here. Yeah, still really not a workable position. This is what happens when you play with your graphics on really high. I want to relax for a moment anyway, see what's going on. We got this guy wrapped around the front. He's now going around the back door, but I haven't seen the other two targets in quite some time now. Okay, there we go. There's the guy in the interior doing his patrol. Let's push out to the left a little bit more. Maybe we can get a better line of sight here with less Obstruction. Might be able to fire from this position with very little issue. Target down. Nice kill. Okay, we definitely warned that guy. He must have saw the kill happen. He's pushing around in a state of panic now. That's okay. It's a misfire. No good on that shot. Oh, wait, he's standing still. He's standing still. Anything beyond the house is going to be a lot closer to 300, so it should be a little bit easier to range it. Let's go for it. Too high, too high. We're losing a lot of stability, not being able to deploy our bipod here, but it's kind of no choice. He's around the front now. There we go. One target down. The other target's wrapping around. Went prone. Not good for us. Right behind that little lip, too. At this point, I'm just trying to engage him. He's probably the last target. I don't think we have anybody else over there. Maybe one more guy. There we go. Not as clean as I would have liked it to be, but hey, we got the job done. Let's just scan the area one more time. No one in the second floor, no one in the first floor. However, we do have that location, that area behind the house. There's a good chance we could have a target there, so we're going to move in carefully, clear that out before we go into the interior and make our search for that intel. There also could be a target inside the house. The one thing that's nice about the Arma AI is that once we get close, if they hear footsteps, they're just going to start screaming. We're going to know they're in the area, and we'll be able to, you know, be a little bit more cautious when we clear the building. Switch over to our irons here. I believe we've got the Rook as a suppressed backup. Not really. I'd rather not use the pistol. I think we'll stick with this. You know what? And now that we're moving in, I'm actually going to remove the sight. The backups are nice, but when you start talking about moving and firing, those backup sights just can throw off the point of aim. Especially sitting so high up and at close range, you're going to start missing shots that you can't afford to be missing. So we'll remove that and use the irons now at this point, moving in close. And we'll stay with single fire, though. This is a really powerful... Kick it down to 100 meters now. Get our zeroing as low as we can. Okay, looks like we actually have two targets. There's definitely one engaging us from the other side of the wall there, and one engaging from the interior, it appears. And we got dropped, really, really damn quickly. Oh, that's a shame. Alright, well, we're not going to continue with that mission. I could retry it all day long. Just wanted to briefly showcase it to you guys. Definitely check it out, though. I'm going to try and finish it later on. Of course, we were dropped by a Sting 9mm SMG. Why wouldn't we be? We're going to head into the virtual arsenal, and we're going to take a look at some of the new equipment that's been added, which kind of showcase that for you guys so you can see what's all been added to the game. There we go. We're going to learn. Alright, going to the virtual arsenal. Here we go. That other showcase, the firing for vehicles, I strongly recommend you check that out. It's actually a hell of a lot of fun. Like, great addition, you know. Really happy to have that finally in-game. Actually, this is a good start. One of the randoms they spawn in for is this chest rig right here is one of the new rigs that they've added. There's a bunch of variants of them, some with the lower protection, some without, and they're very advanced warfighter-ish, you know, very Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. I actually kind of like them. A whole team of those guys. They just look cool. I'm not sure actually on the amount of bullet damage that they can receive. It'd be interesting if somebody did some tests on those, because I know certain rigs actually do absorb more damage than others. That's just it just looks cool. I like the detail on it. Like I said, very advanced warfighter. But let's go ahead and we're going to load up one of my default classes here. We'll load up my DMR kit. And we'll take a look at all the details it has here. So let's go ahead and open the rifle. This is the MK1 EMR. It's a 7.62 EMR. It is based off of the SIG 5.56 EMR, which is a real-life real-steel rifle, as many of you be familiar with. Again, check out that infographic if you haven't. It'll give you all the details on these rifles. But this actually is one of the larger camo variants. We've got a total of 5 different camos here. We've got black, we have a standard, looks like sort of a leaf pattern, camo stick pattern kind of going on. Solid khaki and black. We have sand with a bit of swirling in it. And then we also have a woodland pattern. So I love the camos for these rifles. They look fantastic. And the models on these rifles in general are just really well done. On the other side of things, for attachments, we also have those new scopes I was talking about. This is right now fitted with the AMS. This is a slightly more long-range capable scope than the Kalia. Again, with their own set of patterns, we have sand, khaki, and black. And the Kalia has a tan, an old school, sort of worn out black look, hex, and then a clean, solid black look. We also have the bipads. As I said, we have AAF, CSAT, and NATO, all with their different color patterns. Just a nice bit of variety has been worked in here. You can definitely appreciate that, and you can see the different styling on each of the different bipods. So we'll leave that one on an olive. Let's actually fire this thing. This is one of my favorite rifles, even though it's kind of a bog standard 7.62 round. I like it. You'll see the bipod deployment system working here, nice and clear as day. I think that guy at the back is 300 if I remember correctly. Let's go ahead and range that. Settle in here. Oops, that's a accidental misfire. He's maybe a little bit less or a little bit more. Okay, he's a little bit more. So it's not one of the most stable rifles to fire out of all of them, if I'm honest. Once you start talking really long range with this thing, I probably would not personally ever run it with a sight like this. I'd say it would function a little bit better if we kept to something like the Arco or even the MOS. Let's give that a whirl. And, stuck to slightly closer engagements. Not like you couldn't engage out to that point, but I'd probably use this more as a direct squad support weapon. I mean, in that 7.62 round, it kills people, but it's not the most powerful round. It's not a one-shot kill, especially if you're firing on body armor, chest armor. And as you can tell, this chest armor is actually, it's just a regular standard rig, and it actually does provide a lot of protection, so. Sure, there'll be situations where people want to use it. Not saying you should ignore it altogether. I actually really like the rifle, the design of it. So it's definitely worth messing around with. But let's scroll back up to the top here, actually. We'll take a look. We have the Cyrus. We're not going to work that. That's what we looked at later. But as I said, we've got those 3 different camo variants. Moving up here, though, we have a very special rifle that I think a lot of people will be happy to see in the game. And that is this ASP-1KIR. It is obviously based off the, I would say, rather infamous VSS. If you played a lot of Bad Company 2, you remember that rifle, and you loathe it, and you remember your hatred for it. But it's here. Integrated suppressor. Russian design. Not much else you can say about this thing. It's a very unique rifle. I've always been a huge fan of its appearance. However, I just never could understand what the hell the purpose of this thing was. It is, we'll put a bipod on it. It's not like it's ineffective. I mean, it definitely has range capabilities. And you have to love the sound on it. But I mean, as you can see from its trajectory, it just drops like rocks out of the sky. It is, yeah. I mean, its range is just not very long, but maybe sort of a, interior infiltration operation. This would be a sick rifle for that, no doubt. You'd also look really badass while you're doing it, so you can't go wrong there with that thing. I like that they did that. I like the redesign of it as well. I like how it's got the bigger, fatter barrel for the suppressor. And I love the sound effects on that thing. It just sounds so good. Moving back down, though, again, we passed over. This is the Mar-10. It is a 338 Lapua fed rifle system, and it is badass. I love this thing. I love the design. You can rock a suppressor on this. Just about all of the new weapons in the Marksman DLC can have suppressors fitted to them. Let's go ahead and fire this thing without the suppressor, though, because I really love the way this thing sounds. And we should have no issue hitting that guy at the back of the room this time. Zoom in. Yeah, we'll go 400. Center mass. And he's down. Again, not as powerful as the 9.3 from the Cyrus. But then again, that was a much farther shot. I'm not actually sure which caliber would be larger. I'm sure somebody will correct me on that. That 338 or that fictional 9.3. I'm not actually sure if that's even... That could be a real round as well, but from what Bohemia said, that was a round that they made up for this rifle. It's, however, still powerful nonetheless. You know, obviously going for a more accurate high center mass or even a headshot, you're going to be much more effective with it. But I just love the way this thing sounds. Single fire only, but you can fire it so fast. You can see the CMS here, the sight runs rather than the iron sights. We've got a backup red dot. Just a solid rifle. I really appreciate the design on it more than anything, and I think the sound effects are great. Then we have the MK1 EMR that we already fired, and we have the MK14. This is the last of the Marksman rifles available in the DLC. This is a classic, returning, obviously. Let's put something a little bit more appropriate as the sight. I'd say probably the Arco, no problem on that. Keep the bipod that we're running, and let's go ahead and give this thing a whirl. I mean, it's a classic. It's what it is. Nice setup with the Arco. Go for the head and you'll be all set. I wonder how far this thing could actually engage. Let's see. Oh, look at that. That's an accurate rifle. I think anything beyond that missed first shot is just all me, but... There we go. Target down eventually. A little bit of practice with that thing. You can be picking people off at that range with no issue. That's actually that's a surprisingly accurate rifle. You know, with that scope setup, I didn't think, you know, you'd be engaging anybody that long, but this is Arma after all. Bullet physics are much more properly rendered than in other FPSs. Alright, scrolling all the way down, we have two unique additions to the Marksman DLC. These are two HMGs, two massive... I mean, look at these things. They're insane. I love them. This actually fires that same 9.3mm cartridge that the Cyrus fires, and we also have a 338 variant here with the SPMG. Obviously not the same. It's not a variant. It's a different rifle altogether, but it is running 338. They're both hideous and large. However, when you fire them, it doesn't even matter. It does not even matter. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for being dummies. I mean, that's just a lot of firepower downrange. With actually a lot of precision, and look at the range on this 9mm. This 9.3 is insane. Let's just get a better look at that. That's a nice trajectory on an LMG. You're gonna be able to lay down some serious suppressive fire, and they animated all the bullets coming out of the box. I love that. On top of this being really good at suppression, that is one of the changes that has come with the Marksman DLC. We've saw improvements to enemy suppression. It's now easier to suppress the AI. They react accordingly, and I'm hoping that that's going to mean better PvE scenarios for those of us playing PvE in this game. While we're at it, let's go ahead and fire the other variant here, the big ol' SPMG. Let's get it in sand. There we go. Match the Arco. A little bit louder. In terms of the trajectory, 338, probably looking at roughly the same. It's still pretty good. Yeah, very little drop off until you get a ways down. You're looking at just some. That's just a really capable, you know, LMG there, or HMG, I should say. This thing is massive. However, I imagine carrying this thing out in the field is going to provide a lot of fatigue for whatever soldier is stuck with this thing. No one's going to want to volunteer to carry this thing, that's for sure. It's back out there. Okay, one last thing I want to showcase that is coming alongside of the Marksman DLC is actually the virtual garage. So not only do we have the virtual arsenal that allows us to kit out and look at all of the different pieces of gear for our soldiers, we also have vehicles. We can look at helicopters, boats, tanks, everything is here, even mortars and placements like these bench pods, which will be attached to the bottom of the one helicopter variant. So it's all here. This is also one of the new pieces of gear, the remote designator that you can actually put down, little robotic designator. It's kind of like the baby of Johnny 5. I love it. But this is just a nice system. We actually see all the different camos for these. You can look at the different positions and, you know, sort of activate them, have them move around. Different camos if they have it, components. I think, let's see, let's try and find something that actually has different camos. You know, just the regular old trucks do. Here we go. The off-road armed. We now have a bunch of different camos for this thing. All these different gorilla variants. I love it. It's awesome. And just like anything else in the virtual arsenal, you can export this and put it right into your code, right into your scripting, so you can put the exact camo variant off-road armed that you want in your mission. Just makes everything that much easier. You can also, I believe, hide different components of this. So you can take the glass out, you can take the winch off, just hide all of this, and we've got a completely different vehicle. Just a wonderful addition. I think it's a great tool for people like myself who are very minimalist scripters. We know very little about the scripting. I couldn't tell you how to put all of that in manually when making a mission, so it's nice that I can come here. I can save all of my different loadouts for my soldiers, for my vehicles now even, and then I can put them in the mission exactly how I want them. Just a very nice detail. And before we leave, I almost forgot, we should take a quick look at some of the new uniforms here, because I know there's one thing that is going to have all of the sniper fanatics out there very excited. Let's go ahead and just make this look appropriate here. We'll go ahead and actually equip the big old, where is it? I'm missing it here. There we go. We got the GM8 Lynx rocking the camo pattern. And then if we go down to our uniforms here, we'll see that we have a whole set of full ghillies. Again, we have them for each faction, and we have them in semi-arid, lush, and arid. Full ghillie. Yeah, there you go. Let's actually, we'll probably want to run arid on this. There we go. All set to be the ultimate sniper here. Probably should switch up his scope a little bit. That's probably not the best. Probably not the best scope for a long-range sniper. An anti-material sniper rifle nonetheless. Let's go with the AMS in sand there. Oh yeah, looking like a badass. And as I said, if we go into the chest rigs as well, let's actually load back up my LMG class here. For our vests, we now have that whole set of armored stuff. So it's just much thicker pieces of armor. It's just pretty much appearance. Like I said, I don't really know the benefits of these. I imagine they might have slightly higher armor values, but they just look cool. Very Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter. And that's pretty much everything in the Marksman DLC. Like I said, there's a lot of underlying changes that are not visual. You know, things like, you know, just refinements to the weapon handling system, the way fatigue affects weapon handling, ballistics. All of that stuff has been modified and changed in this DLC, and it's just one to look forward to. Now, as I said before, even if you don't purchase the DLC, you're going to get all of these small changes for free. It's just really a matter of actually having the physical objects if you decide to buy the DLC. They're still making sure that it's available for everyone else to get their hands on the ballistics and the weapon handling changes. That's all going to be there for you. But if you guys have any questions about what you saw in this video or about the Marksman DLC as a whole, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. As I said, the release date is currently set for April 8th. You can go ahead and purchase it already. If you haven't checked out the helicopter DLC, they're available in a bundle. It saves you like $10 if you want to buy them individually, or if you just don't care about buying them at all. That's that. Like I said, you'll still get the really important benefits that are dropping with the DLC. You just won't see the actual equipment. That's going to do it, though. Once again, you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.